In this video today, I'm going to talk about the Lorraine campaign in 1944 and as it's represented in gaming. So I've got a few games that touch on this topic. One is here. It's from the Goss series called Lucky Forward. And this is September through December of the Lorraine campaign. And I think it's the most thorough, comprehensive coverage that you can get, but it is really difficult. The biggest problem, the rule book is, it's very complete and it's all there, but I wished that the writers and developers could have learned from Dean Essig in how he wrote the Operational Combat Series rule books. The format is way more user-friendly. This is like pages and pages of detail, but it's not in a linear order, really. It's tough. That's all I'll say about it. But it is got an incredible amount of detail in it, and so I like having it in my collection. The reason I became interested in the Lorraine campaign in the first place is from this book by James Dunnigan. And of course, in this book, The Complete War Games Handbook, How to Play, Design, and Find Them. And of course, in the very beginning of the book, he kind of defines what a war game is by including one in the book called Drive on Metz. And this basically provides a game in here. It's a you can print and play. It's a print and play. You can photocopy the map, photocopy the terrain effects chart, and the combat results table, and then you can at the end of the article, I think the pieces are in here somewhere. Here they are. The pieces are there. So this is basically covers the area of the Lorraine campaign starting around September 7th, I'm thinking, 1944, and around Metz, the Metz fortifications. Of course, this game was a very good game, albeit simple, and it was redone by Victory Point Games when they were doing their initial phases of that company. And then that game again was reprinted here in this C3I magazine as an insert, and very good quality components in that one. And for some reason, I'm thinking that there's another one that has been made even since then. So that covers that part of the campaign. I also have this game, which I have played. I really like this a lot. This starts a little bit later, I think, than Drive on Metz and Lucky Forward. This starts, I think, in November of 1944. So it skips September and October. But Patton's Third Army, this uses the system where the strengths of the units are basically unknown. I mean, they fall within a range, and when it's time for them to enter combat, you choose a chit that kind of tells you, what the combat factor in this game is going to be for that unit based on its quality level. And so that's a very popular, the Victory in the West series is very popular, and that was used like in Red something Rising. Can't remember what it's called. It's a East Front game that MMP put out. It's from a Japanese designer. But Red Star Rising, I think. Anyway, they use that. I mean, there's a number of systems. I know Greg Blanchard has a bunch of games that he's really picked up on this system. So Patton's Third Army, and that actually has some Sicily game and a later war called Operation Grenade in that system. I also have a BCS title from Dean Essig, his series. This is designed by Carl Fung. Battalion Combat Series Aerocourt. This was part of the Lorraine campaign. So it's just going to put a small snippet of it. I believe this was in September of 1944. So I have that in the series. And then finally, I have an OCS game called Beyond the Rhine, which is September 1944 to April 1945, but the opening portion of this, a section of this game, I think the southern section of the map, which I think has its own scenario, does cover the Lorraine campaign. So that's what I have on it, and maybe I can show a few excerpts from some of the gameplay of some of these games that I can include in this video. So this first picture here is showing a scene from the Drive on Metz in Lucky Forward. And so what I believe you have here, the 5th Infantry Division has the 10th Regiment here, I believe, that is launching this attack. And defending, you have the 17th Panzerjäger. And so, you know, I think this game can be quite unforgiving. I mean, I've got this Panzerjäger defending by itself in a clear, open terrain, and they got, you know, infantry coming in on top of. So it didn't turn out very well for the 17th Panzerjäger. I mean, it got completely blown away here. So yeah, don't do that. I guess it probably does better against tanks, but yeah, it didn't do so well against the 10th Regiment here. Now this next picture is showing a similar area from the Drive on Metz game, which is a C3I-20 game by Dunnigan. And of course the scale is a lot higher. We're going from a battalion-sized units there and company size here to regimental sized units. So in the Lucky Forward, a regiment was symbolized by 3 battalion-sized units for the American 10th Brigade or regiment. And here you see the 10th is in 1 counter, 3 units in 1 counter. So the scale's up quite a bit here. I think this was 5 miles per hex, and I think that Lucky Forward is 1 mile per hex. And so a day for a turn here, but I think it's 3 turns per day, or maybe 4 in Lucky Forward. So you have a similar type of combat. This is obviously a lot simpler. This next picture that I have here is from Patton's Third Army from Strategy and Tactics magazine. And this is showing it's a similar area of operation. You've got a Drive on Metz happening here. You can see the 5th Division is divided up, you know, into the regiments, the individual regiments that are coming in there that are really trying to approach capturing the fortified area around Metz. You also see the 10th Armored Division that is coming in, you know, on the left-hand side of the picture. You'll note that some of the units here have letters. These tell you which column, you know, which line to use when you put the strength chit underneath them. A, B, or C. So C is the smallest, weakest. A is the strongest. So this the 5th Division here is going to have very strong chits because they're A-rated units. And now this last picture is from OCS Beyond the Rhine, and it's showing basically the same scenario that Dunnigan is presenting in Drive on Metz. And so here you have the OCS part of the Drive on Metz from the Lorraine campaign in that system. So this is just a brief look at some of the ideas behind the Lorraine campaign and different ways you can game it. And I'm aware that there are a couple other games out there that I don't have. One is from High Flying Dice, and I forgot the name, but it has 3 battles from the Lorraine campaign in it, but I don't remember what they are. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little look at the Lorraine campaign, and I hope you have a great day, and we'll see you later.